We love talking about game history here at I Dream of Indie, the importance of the preservation of these games, and it's always nice to see when one gets a little bit jazzed up for more modern times. That's the case here with Wonder Boy Asha in Monster World on the PlayStation 4. This game is also available on the Nintendo Switch, and it's based on a game that you perhaps aren't even familiar with. That's because you'd have to go all the way back to the year 1994, and I know not all of you are as old as Old Gamer Joe here, but that's when Monster World 4 was released in Japan, so if you didn't live in Japan, you were also out of luck. However, if you grew up in North America as I did, you might be familiar with this name, Master Higgins. That's because Adventure Island did make its way out here, and that game is, in fact, a Wonder Boy game. So fun little fact if you didn't happen to know that one. Alright, so before we get into the meat of this review, one important thing to note here is that Wonder Boy Asha in Monster World, should you get the physical version, will include the original game digitally, Monster World 4. So that's something to consider when you're making your purchasing decision. If you get the digital version, sadly, you cannot get it. Once you jump into the game anyways, you are greeted with a Star Wars-style text-scrolling screen here that does lay out a little bit of the underlying story. That story revolves around the lead character Asha, who has to protect the world from this disgusting-looking, creepy eyeball thing that is unleashing its minions and monsters in order to cause chaos. Asha will now travel the world, taking on various dungeons in hopes of restoring peace once again to the kingdoms, and that's where you come in, taking on a very basic platformer action game with some light RPG mechanics scattered in there as well. Just as the game's story is simplistic, so too are the controls in this game. You do have a sword attack. You can use that by pressing either circle or square. You of course can jump, but the real draw of this game is the Pepelogoo, which is a creature that follows you around. You don't have it initially, but you'll eventually pick one up. It hatches out of an egg and flies about with you. This Pepelogoo has various abilities that help you along the way. You'll have quite a few different reasons to use this creature, everything from doing double jumps to floating in the air to even putting out fires. Yes, you can use the Pepelogoo to solve some of the game's light puzzles. It's not just about the dungeons in this game though. As you travel from area to area, you will come across towns as well. Here you can equip new items for Asha, including weapons like swords and also shields and various other power-ups. Eventually, though, Asha does kind of settle in one destination, a town that hosts 4 different dungeons for you to explore. So again, some light RPG mechanics here, but nothing that's going to really be surprising and nothing that you won't be able to handle even if you're not a fan of RPGs. Don't worry, really light stuff here. I would say that's almost a theme of this game. Not a challenging title here really whatsoever. The combat is so basic, the enemy AI isn't really all that smart or impressive, and the same could be said for the bosses, which I easily was able to topple. Making things even easier is the fact that you have a shield that can block a lot of the attacks, and your character will actually even bounce back from time to time from enemies for some reason, not taking the damage. Plus you get a ton of different hearts that you can collect easily along the way. So yeah, not a super challenging game on your normal playthrough here, to be honest with you, but I didn't mind that myself. I kind of enjoy casual experiences like this from time to time, and having played a lot of difficult games lately, I welcomed it. The overall dungeon design is merely solid. I did get lost from time to time because the maps aren't all that helpful again, but overall, I enjoyed the dungeons, I enjoyed the gameplay. I think it's fun, simple enough for anyone to pick up and play, and not a frustrating experience either. This is also helped by the fact that you can save the game now at any point you wish. I forgot a few times, which did set me back, but I'm just not used to that. I'm so used to autosaves, but yeah, that's an option that makes the game even easier. While most of this game does take place in 2D, from time to time you can actually go up or down into the background or foreground of this game, which is pretty neat. It's a nice little effect and does host some secrets in some of the villages. For example, you might have to go behind a building in order to get to an area that you otherwise wouldn't be, and this could potentially lead to a treasure. So I thought that was a nice effect as well. So a little bit of combat, a little bit of RPGing going on here, and a whole lot of fun. This is one of those simple turn your brain off games that you can just leisurely play and enjoy, and it helps that it's really quite pretty to look at. Even though the translation is a bit of a disappointment, I will say they are being faithful to the original game here in almost every regard, so I'll give that a pass. But no, beautiful recreation of the graphics here. All of the environments are gorgeous. The colors are really vibrant in this game. They pop beautifully beautifully on the screen. I love the animations of your lead character in particular. Every time you open a chest, you get a little booty dance that I got a kick out of. A whole lot of fun they had making this game look really cartoony and just really pleasing to the eye. I think they've done a great job with the visuals on this remake, and I also feel like the sound is excellent in this game, even though it really plays only with one theme throughout, the main theme of this game, which I caught myself humming along to repeatedly throughout. I guess it doesn't help that almost every other theme in the game is based around that main theme, but I did enjoy it quite a bit, and all the sound effects are really cute and quirky as well. Yeah, the script could have used a little bit of reworking here. I think they could have tightened up the story more for this version of the game, but overall I'm not complaining. A nice visual and audio presentation. As far as performance goes, I didn't run into any issues whatsoever on the PlayStation 4 version. Felt like a silky smooth 60 frames per second the entire time. No real slowdown or anything like that. Maybe just a hint of it when a bunch of coins would appear on screen at once, but that was about it. Overall, a pretty good technical performance. If you're looking for a very simple, throwback, cute, colorful game with not a long runtime, then I actually do recommend checking this one out. A nice little piece of history here for a game that really was probably forgotten in a lot of ways by many people, or maybe not ever recognized at all. So it's cool that it's finally able to be played here in North America. Though now that I think about it, they did do a 2012 version that was released digitally of the original game that did come to North America. But overall, this is a great way to experience this. So if you've never played Monster World 4, now's a good time to jump in. And if you really want to play them both, get that physical version. Why not? You physical lovers out there can't complain with this one. A fun, simple game. Thank you so much for watching the latest video from I Dream of Indie. We'd now like to take a moment to thank our great indie warriors who support us through channel memberships. We have Mitchell Hall, Kevilo, Bunny, Bill T-Kaz, Christian Cruz, Strict9, Rosie Syntax, Chris Jackson, Nathan Moore, Peach, Adriana Amato, CJR, Jesse, Falco, Lombardi, C, Coil, and Skepticism. Thank you for all you do for independent games, developers, publishers, and for I Dream of Indie. Everybody else, head down to the description box below and let's defeat that echo chamber together, or head down to idreamofindie.com and help us bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming.